My best friend, who is also my maid of honor, was cold and rude to me in front of my bridesmaids at my bachelorette party, and now I'm wondering if she's truly a friend. Posted by you/Dodu. I, 25F, had my bachelorette party this weekend with my maid of honor, Emily, 26F, and 5 other bridesmaids. Emily made several rude comments toward me, and, at times, toward other girls, in front of the whole group. I'm feeling hurt and nervous about how to handle it. For context, Emily and I have been best friends since college, about 6 years, much longer than I've known my other bridesmaids. I chose her as my maid of honor because we've been friends for so long, and she's like a sister to me. As part of her role, she was in charge of planning the trip, but about 2 weeks before, several bridesmaids told me they hadn't received any info yet and were getting worried. I called Emily to check in and realized that close to nothing had been planned. I figured she must be stressed out and needed support but was nervous about asking for it. So, I suggested pairing her with another bridesmaid who's really good at trip planning to help. She seemed totally fine with this. The bridesmaid took charge of planning the key activities during the day, while Emily planned everything else, like where to eat and having a movie night. Fast forward to the trip, Emily was really excited about the decorations she bought. She wanted to deck out the Airbnb with decorations so that I could walk into a big surprise. She made it clear that she wanted to set up all the decorations alone, saying it would stress her out more to have other people trying to help. I asked if she was sure. She was, and we all respected her choice. We all had a much longer drive, so we were going to be getting there later anyway. Unfortunately, one of her big decorations didn't turn out as planned, and she was really upset about it. I really felt for her because I know I'd be upset too if I were in her shoes. So, when I got there, I hyped up everything she did and told her that it all looked amazing, but I don't think it cheered her up that much. The next morning, she seemed to be feeling better, and we had a really sweet moment getting ready together. She even helped me do my hair and clip in my bridal bow, which was really sweet. But then, at brunch, things got weird and uncomfortable for everyone. Emily and another bridesmaid were showing each other music, and I playfully recommended a song because another bridesmaid and I had been joking about it the night before. When I asked her what she thought, she very bluntly said, "I didn't like it." I laughed and said, "OMG, that was so rude," in a playful way to gently call her out without making it awkward, but she just doubled down, "I'm not being rude. I just don't listen to crap like that." It was awkward, and I was really hurt by her tone. But I let it go. Then, while I was mid-conversation with other bridesmaids, she interrupted to tell me that another girl also didn't like the song. At that point, I was just like, well, at least that was a little nicer. She doubled down again, insisting that she wasn't being rude, and I just said, okay, and turned back around. The rest of the trip, her mood was all over the place. Sometimes we were fine, other times, she was distant. One night, while we were all hanging out and watching a movie, she just went to her room without saying anything. I went to check on her before going to bed, but she looked like she was asleep, and I had a killer headache from all the day drinking, so I just went to bed. The next morning, she was clearly in a mood again. At one point, she was asking if I wanted some plastic wine glasses we got from a winery. I said I wasn't sure but would take them if no one else wanted them, and she coldly said, "You said you wanted them, I never said this." I was kind of thrown off and said that I was just excited they were free but didn't say I wanted them, but she just goes, "Dude, if you don't want them, just throw them away." It was so weird and tense, and the other girls in the room were just silent and visibly uncomfortable. When we were all saying goodbye before leaving the Airbnb, I hugged her, thanked her for everything, and told her I had a great time, but she just kind of went, "Thanks." It felt off, but I didn't really know what to say, so I just left it at that. One of the bridesmaids later brought it up to me, saying she was uncomfortable with how Emily treated me and that she seemed rude to others too, like when she was loudly making fun of one of the girls for how she put her bow on. There are a few other things that happened that made me and the girls uncomfortable, but this post is already super long, so I won't get into it. I'm super anxious about this situation, but I feel like I need to talk to her. I'm thinking of asking her for a phone call and seeing if something was going on that she wasn't telling me. Then, after hearing her out, I tell her that I felt hurt and embarrassed by how she treated me in front of everyone and that I don't think friends should talk to each other like that. I also want to make it clear that this can't happen on my wedding day. Is the phone call a good idea? How do I ask for it? And how can I communicate to Emily how I feel and my expectations going forward without making things worse? Thank you for reading. Update 2 days later. After my last post, I reached out to Emily via text to ask if she was free to talk on the phone after work. Important background info: Emily and I had an agreement in our friendship that we would let each other know if either of us did anything hurtful or offensive instead of bottling things up. This was mainly to reassure me because, while Emily was very quick to bring things up and ask for apologies, I am more conflict averse. This is important for later. Emily called me after work, and I started by saying that I had felt some tension between us during the trip and wanted to ask if something was going on that I didn't know about. She immediately brought up brunch, saying I was condescending and had embarrassed her. I told her I understood and apologized. Then, I brought up my own feelings about that same interaction and the way she spoke to me on the last morning. She asked what exactly she had done that morning, so I gently explained the interaction with the wine glasses and how it made me feel. She insisted that I had said I wanted them. When I tried to de-escalate, she cut me off and said, "No, you did say that. You were just too drunk off your effing mind to remember. You asked me to hold the wine glasses for you, and I asked Sarah what to do with them, and she said she thought you wanted them." For context, I was not too drunk to remember. This happened at the second vineyard we visited. We went to a total of 3. By that point, I had only done one wine tasting and shared a second with 2 other girls, meaning the total amount of wine I had consumed was equal to about 1.5 glasses. I may be a lightweight, but I am not that light. I was definitely happy and bubbly, but my memory was fine. Regardless, I repeated to Emily that it was okay if we remembered things differently. I didn't want this to turn into a back and forth over who was right or wrong. I just wanted to have a healthy conversation about how we were both feeling that weekend. And I was feeling hurt and embarrassed by the tone she used when speaking to me. And then she blows up. She started yelling and cursing at me. She said, "Oh my effing god, you've gotten way too effing sensitive recently. Like, are you effing serious right now? You're hurt about the wine glasses? Like, are you joking? You and fiancé have always been so condescending to me, and I'm effing sick of it. You look down on me and speak to me like I'm an effing child. But you're hurt about some wine glasses? That's just ridiculous. Remember when I said we promised each other we would be open and not bottle things up?" So, yeah, naturally, I was shocked and wondering why she had never brought this up before. It honestly felt like she was just flipping the narrative to put the blame on me and make herself the victim. I also want to make it clear that my fiancé and I have never looked down on her. We always try to validate and reassure her as much as possible. We have only ever gently suggested that she might approach certain situations differently, for example, blowing up on a friend for asking her to carefully consider adopting another animal if she couldn't care for it, letting a complete stranger into her home when she lives alone and cannot defend herself, showing up unannounced at an ex-situationship's house because she needed closure. I tried to tell her that I was happy to talk about those things calmly, but she interrupted me again and said, "Yeah, let's effing talk about it. Let's talk about how ungrateful you effing are after I spend all that money on you and did all this crap for you, and this is how you thank me? By getting so hurt over some effing wine glasses? That's effing stupid." Then, she started ranting about how I had locked myself in my room the morning of checkout. For context, again, I was not locked up in my room that morning. I was up at 8:30 a.m. getting ready, packing, and cleaning my room. I was much slower than usual because 1, I had a headache from day drinking, 2, it was daylight savings, and 3, the wind had been howling all night. I would have been happy to help if someone had knocked on my door and asked for an extra pair of hands or to use my bathroom. But no one did, because no one needed to, which one of my bridesmaids later confirmed. She said no one needed to use my bathroom, and there were at least 1 or 2 other girls with free hands who could have helped before anyone needed to ask me. By the time I finished my room and went to the main area, everything had already been taken down, and everyone was sitting on the couch, ready to leave. Emily continued calling me too effing sensitive and said that if I was getting so hurt over stupid crap like this, then it was a me issue and had nothing to do with her. At that point, I decided it was time to end the conversation. I said, "The way you just spoke to me is incredibly mean, rude, and disrespectful. I'm not going to do a back and forth with you on this. I'm ending the conversation now. I hope you have a good day, Emily." After that call, I immediately decided she was out of the wedding party. This was not the behavior of a friend, let alone a maid of honor or bridesmaid. But I debated whether to give her time to reflect in case she had the maturity to apologize or to cut ties immediately. After discussing it with my fiancé and one of my bridesmaids, who were both shocked by her explosion, we agreed this needed to be the final straw. Later that evening, I noticed she had stopped sharing her location with me, which was a red flag that a block was coming, so if I wanted to send a message, I needed to do so ASAP. So, I sent a long text explaining that I was hurt and shocked by how she had treated me. I apologized for making her feel embarrassed at brunch and thanked her for the effort she had put into our friendship. But I made it clear, I do not tolerate being yelled at, cursed at, or disrespected by anyone. I told her that we clearly saw things differently. What she called sensitivity, I saw as kindness. Her reaction revealed how she really saw me and my fiancé, so I was removing her from the wedding as both a bridesmaid and a guest. I wished her well but made it clear that I couldn't be part of her life anymore. She responded by unfollowing me on Instagram and unfollowing my fiancé on Strava, LOL, so I blocked her on everything, including Duolingo. I hope she learns and grows because she has gained a reputation for blowing up on friends and causing drama at weddings, now 3, including mine. And yes, I did consider this when choosing her as maid of honor, but there was some nuance with the pros and cons that I won't get into right now to spare you more reading. To future wedding couples, choose your wedding party wisely. If someone shows you their true colors, believe them. If they treat other people terribly, don't dismiss it and assume they would never do the same to you just because you're good friends. One day, it will be directed at you. I may have made the mistake of including her, but I made the right choice by not letting her stay. Relevant comments. Commenter. Blocked on Duolingo is incredible, Lamau.